At 10:14 a.m., someone makes a harmless comment in a meeting. "You seem a little quiet today." A few people smile. Nothing dramatic has happened, but the person at the end of the table feels their throat tighten. Their eyes begin to burn. They look down at their notes, blink too quickly, and pretend to search for a pen. They are not heartbroken. They are not being attacked. They are not even sure why they are about to cry. That may be the most confusing part. Why can a small sentence break through someone's composure when larger problems do not? Why do some people cry easily, even when they are trying harder than anyone else not to? From the outside, the behavior is simple. Tears appear, the face changes, the voice becomes unstable. Other people assume the emotion must be larger than the situation. They call the person sensitive, dramatic, fragile, or unable to cope. Sometimes the person agrees. They apologize before anyone asks. "I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm crying." The apology often arrives before the first tear has fallen. But crying easily is not always evidence that a person feels more than everyone else. Sometimes it means they have spent too long trying not to feel anything at all. This is the hidden contradiction. They may look emotionally uncontrolled because their emotional control has been working constantly. During the day, they absorb small pressures without showing them. A short reply from someone they care about, a manager's disappointed tone, a friend interrupting them repeatedly, a family member saying, "You take everything too personally." Each moment is filed away. Nothing is large enough to justify a reaction, so no reaction is allowed. The person keeps moving. They answer messages normally. They finish tasks. They smile at the right moment. Their face remains calm while the body keeps recording what the mind has dismissed. Then someone says, "You seem a little quiet today," and the tears arrive. The comment did not create the emotion. It touched the place where the emotion had been stored. The central metaphor is a glass filled drop by drop. One drop is invisible. 10 still seem manageable. The 100th is not more powerful than the first 99, but it is the one that makes the water spill. People often judge the final drop because they cannot see the glass. They see someone crying over a delayed train, a minor correction, a broken cup, or a sentence that sounded slightly cold. What they do not see is the accumulation, the argument from yesterday, the worry from last week, the exhaustion that has not been named, the effort required to appear unaffected. The tears belong to the entire glass, not only to the final drop. This pattern often begins early. A child may learn that visible anger creates punishment, that sadness makes adults uncomfortable, or that strong emotion turns them into a problem. Perhaps they were told, "Stop crying," before anyone asked what happened. Perhaps another child in the family needed more attention, so they became the easy one. Perhaps their feelings were met with logic instead of comfort. There's nothing to be upset about. The child does not stop feeling. They stop trusting the feeling. From that experience, an internal belief forms. Emotion must be controlled before it becomes inconvenient. If tears appear, something has gone wrong. If other people notice, shame follows. The protective reaction is suppression. Hold the voice steady, change the subject, laugh, leave the room, say, "I'm fine." The external behavior looks composed until the system reaches its limit. Then the body does what the person has trained the mind not to do. It releases. This is the psychological chain beneath many easy tears. The event may be small. The past experience taught that feelings are unsafe or embarrassing. The belief says composure protects connection. The defensive reaction is to contain everything. The visible behavior is sudden crying when containment fails. The tears look uncontrolled, but they are often the consequence of control being used for too long. Crying is also a physical process, not only a message. Emotion changes breathing, muscle tension, heart rate, and the nervous system. Tears can appear when the body moves from high internal pressure toward release. That is why someone may cry after the danger is past, rather than during it. They stay calm in the emergency, speak clearly, solve the problem, and then collapse when they reach the bathroom, the car, or the safety of their bedroom. The body waited until it no longer had to perform. This is why the person who cries after a difficult conversation may have looked strangely calm during it. Their system was occupied with survival, reading the other person's face, choosing words carefully, preventing escalation, protecting dignity. Only later does the emotion become available. The tears are delayed evidence. They show what the body could not afford to reveal in the moment. Some people also process social information with unusual depth. They notice the pause before an answer, the slight change in tone, the smile that does not reach the eyes. They may recognize disappointment before it is spoken. This does not make every interpretation correct. Sensitivity can detect real details and still produce false conclusions. But it creates a larger emotional workload. A conversation that lasts 5 minutes can continue internally for hours. Why did they say it like that? Were they annoyed? Did I make the room uncomfortable? The person is not reacting only to words. They are reacting to every possible meaning attached to them. Their nervous system keeps reopening the scene. This is why a simple criticism can feel physically overwhelming. The criticism connects with older memories of being misunderstood, dismissed, or treated as too much. The current voice becomes layered with previous voices. A manager says, "This needs more work," but the body hears something larger. You disappointed someone again. You missed something everyone else understood. Your place here is less secure than you thought. The tears are not proof that the person cannot accept feedback. They may be proof that feedback has become fused with belonging. And here is the thought that changes how easy crying should be seen. Tears are not always the emotion itself. Sometimes they are the nervous system's exit door. Anger may leave through tears. Frustration may leave through tears. Relief, shame, exhaustion, tenderness, and even laughter can use the same physical route. The face shows water, but the internal state can be completely different. This is why asking, "Why are you sad?" sometimes confuses the person. They may not be sad, they may be overloaded. They may be furious but unable to express anger directly. They may be relieved that someone finally noticed. They may have held themselves together so tightly that kindness feels more dangerous than cruelty. Cruelty can be defended against. Kindness lowers the shield. Someone says, "You don't have to explain," and that is when the tears become impossible to stop. The person was prepared to fight judgment. They were not prepared to be understood. This is also why they often cry alone. Public tears create shame, so the person learns to disappear before the release. They hold their breath in the elevator. They keep their face still until the bathroom door locks. They sit in a parked car longer than necessary. They turn on the shower so no one can hear. From the outside, others may never know how much emotional work is happening. They only see the occasional moment when the system fails to hide itself. Over time, the person may build an identity around this. "I'm too sensitive." The sentence seems descriptive, but it becomes a warning. They avoid difficult conversations because they fear crying. They rehearse simple requests. They delay setting boundaries because a shaking voice might make them look uncertain. They become angry at their own body for revealing what they wanted to keep private. The fear of tears creates more pressure, and more pressure makes tears more likely. The person enters a conversation thinking, "Do not cry, do not cry, do not cry." Their attention moves away from the conversation and toward every sensation in the throat, chest, and eyes. The body becomes a threat being monitored from inside. The first sign of emotion feels like failure, which adds shame to whatever was already there. The glass fills faster because the person is afraid of the glass. Yet, easy crying does not automatically mean emotional depth, empathy, or hidden strength. Sometimes it reflects chronic stress. Sometimes sleep deprivation, grief, anxiety, hormonal changes, or prolonged exhaustion lower the threshold for tears. The important point is not that crying is secretly a gift. It is that the visible reaction cannot be understood without the system around it. A tear is an outcome. The code lies in what happened before it. What was noticed? What was remembered? What belief was activated? What feeling was forbidden? What pressure had nowhere else to go? Without that chain, the final moment looks irrational. With it, the behavior becomes precise. And now the meeting room returns. It is 10:14 a.m. Someone has said, "You seem a little quiet today." The person looks down, searching for a pen they already have in their hand. Earlier that morning, they received a message from a parent. "Call me when you have time." Their partner left without saying goodbye. They slept 4 hours. They spent the first half of the meeting correcting a mistake no one else noticed. None of these moments seemed serious enough to react to, so they reacted to none of them. Then, one person looked directly at them and noticed something was different. The sentence was not cruel. It was almost gentle. That was why it broke through. For a second, the person no longer had to maintain the performance of being fine. The glass did not overflow because someone said the wrong thing. It overflowed because someone finally touched the truth. The tears were not evidence that the person was weak. They were evidence that the body had been carrying more than the room could see. And what looked like an excessive reaction to one small moment was in fact the most honest summary of everything that came before it.